I got some good conversation for you guys tonight. So this is one of my favorite wines. It's a Moscato. I'm not really big into the dry wine. I'm more definitely a sweet wine drinker. Gonna pour a little bit of wine just to get the night started. Now that's some good wine. So I want to get the conversation started tonight. I honestly don't really have any notes written out. I have a few things that I want to touch on. I actually had a topic that I was going to talk about tonight, but I'm going to close it. I'm actually going to freestyle this one and just talk to you guys from my heart. Hopefully it brings across a great message. So we are on the 9th episode. We are almost at the 10th episodes. I only do 10 episodes per season. It's just the way that I have it set up, and we are almost there. Just because you're not where you thought you should be right now does not mean that right now in this moment you are not exactly where you're meant to be. In my teens, I remember I wrote this list out for myself, what I wanted to do by this age and where I felt like I would be. Mind you, I wrote this list when I was probably 12 or 13, and I was writing things out about where I thought I was going to be in my 20s and my 30s. A few of the things I remember, I said by the age of 30, I wanted to have my own house. I wanted to have a huge house. By the age of 25, I was supposed to be married with at least 2 kids. Just all these things I put on my list, and life was just going to be perfectly amazing. But here I am, and a lot of the things that I did write on my list, I do not have those things. Not because I will never have those things, but definitely didn't happen at the time that I called it to happen when I was 12 and 13. We all have our own ideas and expectations of life and where we feel like will be and what makes sense for us in that moment that we think it. But obviously, as you grow older and you get wiser and you have experiences in life and you're learning, you understand that life will not go the way that you assume it should go at certain times in your life. In this time, in this season of my life, I understand that just because I'm not exactly where I intended to be, just because I'm not where I wrote down years ago where I would be, doesn't necessarily mean that I'll never be there. I'm just not there right now. Just because I didn't go to college like I wanted to. I actually did want to go off to a university, but that didn't happen for me. Just because certain things didn't happen, it doesn't mean that I'm doomed to fail. Could I have worked harder in some moments in my life? Of course, I can definitely admit that. There were some times where, I'm not gonna lie, I pushed myself a lot. I pushed myself to the limit. And then there were times where I got really relaxed and I got really lazy. And I started surrounding myself with people who were also lazy and who lacked the means to actually execute a goal. However, I can't harp on the past. I can't harp on why I didn't do certain things, and if I would have done certain things, where I could possibly be. I still believe that I am exactly where I'm meant to be. Life is a journey. Letting the pages turn. There's always something new. Every chapter is different. Life is really about just embracing the journey and embracing what that means and what comes with that, and understanding that it's not a straight line. It's bumps and it's detours. It can be all over the place sometimes, but you really have to embrace the journey and what your journey looks like for you. It's crazy how we look to our left and our right, and now it's more accessible. Other people's lives are more accessible, and you're looking at people like, man, what did I do? Why am I not doing that right now? Why is that not happening for me? But just because someone's life looks great does not mean that they didn't have to go through hell to get where they are. And we all have different journeys and different things that we're able to do and reasons why we're able to do them. Just embracing your own journey is just so important. When we look at other people's journeys and we see where they are, a lot of times you miss out on your own blessings. So instead of looking at them like, man, I wish I was where they are, and I'm kind of low-key upset, what did they do? What am I not doing? Bless them instead, bless them for where they are, because you believe deep inside, with work, with patience, with perseverance, you're going to have just that. I am learning in this season that everything has its own divine time and its own right season. There are some things where I can look and I can honestly say, had I had those things, would I have really embraced them? Or would I have taken a lot of things for granted? There are certain things that I really feel like, had I got them years ago, I probably would have messed things up. Sometimes you do have to go through the fire. Like, sometimes you really have to go through things in life to really understand and have a new respect for being where you are and why you're there. I have a friend of mine that comes to mind, and I'm not going to say their name out, give them the respect, but there was a friend of mine, and they were really going through a very hard time when I met them. And I think about them often because when I met them at a very, very low point in their lives. And I wasn't necessarily in a good place in my life at the time either, but I was definitely in a far better position than they were. And I remember there was just so much that they were going through. And just to look at them, I'm like, my God, I don't see how you're not crying like every single day. Like, they were really going through it. And they expressed to me at the time that I met them, there was one point in time in their life where things were up. Like, everything was looking up for them. They had a lot of money. They had a huge house. They had a few cars. Like, everything was going great for them. And all of a sudden, life happened. It happened all at one time, like boom, like a crash, like everything just happened. They had never been at such a low point in their life before. And they were at that low point for quite a few years before things started to look up again. And although I have not spoken to this friend of mine in a very long time, I can almost guarantee you their gratefulness for where they are right now is far better than it ever was before, when they were actually in that good spot before in their life, before everything came crumbling down. Sometimes it really does take you losing almost everything that you have to really embrace just how blessed you are. Life will seriously humble you, stop you in your tracks. Sometimes we don't really realize how blessed we are until the very things that we're so used to are taken away from us. No matter where you are in your life, seriously take a look around and think about where you are currently. Embrace the space that you're in, because when things turn around, because they will turn around, there were some things that I had that I just felt like I was supposed to have until I didn't have them anymore. And you really do get a newfound respect for where you are and for where you're trying to go. Your prayers are different. You don't pray the same. Your prayers they're more specific, more real. You totally get a whole new found respect for life in general when you lose or even almost lose things that you've always been used to having. When I first started YouTube, of course, just like most YouTubers, I envisioned that first year being just taking off. But it didn't happen like that for me. There were some times I kind of had to step back, step away. It just wasn't my time. Even now, with being a small YouTuber and having the account that I have, I am so grateful. I am grateful for this slow growth. I really am. There's so many positive sides to just slowly growing with an organic following. And I know with hard work and time, I can be where some of the most successful YouTubers are. But for right now, I am where I am because I'm supposed to be where I am. And I'm just embracing the whole journey. I'm embracing every part of it. If you're currently in that space in your life where you're like, man, where am I supposed to be? Where could I have been? And to get to where you envision yourself wanting to go, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. You have to be willing to let all the opinions take a back seat and just do exactly what it is that you want to do for yourself. You are exactly where you are meant to be. You are doing exactly what you are meant to do right now in this moment. And a lot of times we mess it up for ourselves by daydreaming and imagining how life would be if we were doing what someone else is doing, or we imagine life if we had have made these choices. We kind of get so hung up on things that we should have done that we didn't do for whatever those reasons are. But you have to be willing to accept where you are right now and what you want to do with where you are right now to get to wherever it is that you want to be. I hope this video helped you. I hope there was a few points that you could take away from this video. Like I said, this was freestyle. I did not have a lot of notes and things written. I kind of just wanted to speak from the heart. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I do hope you guys will be here next week for our final episode of the season. So I hope to have you guys right back here next week for Trish Talk Tuesdays. Thank y'all so much for sticking it out with me, and I'll see you then. Love you. Bye.